There's a thin line that separates being good from being foolish. Many believe they are being kind, but in reality, they may be setting themselves up for heartbreak. This is the story of Tabitha, a woman who walked that fine line and paid the ultimate price before finding redemption. It was a beautiful sunny day. Tabitha sat at her favorite restaurant, waiting for her meal. Lost in thought, she barely noticed when a stranger took the seat across from her. As Tabitha sat lost in thought, a warm, cheerful woman walked towards her, her voice carrying a friendly tone.
Hi there!
Tabitha looks up, offering a forced smile, clearly troubled.
Why the gloomy look? Are you okay?
Before Tabitha could respond, Yvonne extends her hand warmly.
My name is Yvonne. I used to be a chef here before I moved to another city for a better offer. I'm just in town to gather my remaining belongings. It's nice to meet you.
Yvonne leans forward, intrigued.
I'm Tabitha. I moved here 5 months ago, trying to rebuild my life.
Rebuild your life? What do you mean?
Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that. I'm sorry.
Yvonne gently holds Tabitha's arm, offering a reassuring smile.
No need to be sorry. That wasn't a slip-up, that was your heart speaking. We all have our share of pain and regrets. The question is, how do we rise above them?
Tabitha takes a deep breath, eyes filling with tears.
If you don't mind sharing, what's your story?
Tabitha wipes a tear, voice trembling as she begins.
I was once full of life, cheerful, loving, and always ready to put others before myself. I thought if I gave my heart selflessly, I could make people just as kind. But reality had other plans.
Tabitha's life unfolds in short snippets. She is constantly overextending herself, covering rent for struggling friends, sacrificing her own needs, and staying up late to support others. In every act of kindness, she believes she is making a difference. But small signs of abuse creep in, friends not reciprocating, taking advantage, and manipulating her generosity.
One day, I met an old classmate while shopping. She was the cashier at the store, and we were thrilled to reconnect.
Tabitha and her friend laughing, chatting, completely unaware of the long queue behind them. Due to their long pleasantries, which was already taking too much time, and there was a long queue behind them, some of the customers on the queue got angry and impatient and shouted, "Hey, some of us have places to be." They apologize and quickly complete the transaction. As her friend ends her shift, she suggests dinner. "How about we go to my place instead? We can cook and catch up properly," Tabitha excitedly told her old friend, now turned new. "That sounds perfect," her friend said.
That night, we talked for hours. I hadn't stayed up that late in years, lost in memories. Over time, she became my closest friend. Always around, always needing help. And I gave without question.
After reconnecting with my old classmate at the grocery store, I welcomed her into my home. She was struggling with rent, and I couldn't bear to see her homeless. At first, things were fine. She worked at the same grocery store where we met, and I carried the larger financial responsibilities, believing it was just temporary. The problem started a few months later when she lost her job. She was devastated, and I assured her that I'd support her until she found something new. But as days turned into weeks, then months, she made no effort to seek another job. Every time I encouraged her to try, she brushed it off, making excuses. "You need to start applying for jobs. You can't just sit around all day."
I'll get to it. It's just, the market is tough right now, and besides, you have a stable job, right? We're fine.
As if that wasn't bad enough, things started going missing. At first, I thought I was imagining it. A missing blouse, some money I was sure I left in my purse. But then it got worse. Where is my dress? I just wore it last week. And my shoes, too. Not only was she living off me, but she was also stealing from me. And the worst part? She started spending more nights at other friends' places, only returning when she needed something. The stress was unbearable. My workload had increased, and carrying the responsibility of 2 people drained me. My boss started noticing my decline in performance.
Tabitha, your work has been slipping. If this continues, we might have to reconsider your position.
I was at my breaking point. Then, one night, we had a massive fight. "You need to leave. I can't keep supporting you while you contribute nothing. I've done everything for you, and all you do is take advantage of me.
Oh, so now you're throwing it in my face? You think you're better than me just because you have a job? You're pathetic.
Get out! I'm done!
Her friend storms out, slamming the door behind her. Tabitha collapses onto the couch, overwhelmed, fighting back tears.
Then, all of a sudden, she vanished. She left, without a word, even taking some of my possessions with her. For months I searched, but she was nowhere to be found. Until one day, a close mutual friend gave me an address. She was in a new city, thriving. I paid her an unannounced visit, and that's when I saw it.
Tabitha arrives at the grand gate of a luxurious house, clutching her worn-out handbag. Her heart pounds as she stares up at the extravagant home that once belonged to a struggling friend. She built all this with my money? Taking a deep breath, she pushes the intercom button. Seconds later, the gate swings open and she sees her former friend, dressed in designer clothes, stepping out with a smug smile.
You think you can just take from me, disappear, and live like none of this happened?
I don't know what you're talking about, Tabitha. I worked hard for this.
Tabitha notices some of her missing belongings. A unique piece of furniture, a necklace she once loved, scattered around the porch. Her blood boils. Her voice raises, attracting the attention of neighbors. The friend suddenly changes demeanor, putting on a look of distress.
Help, there's an intruder at my house. Someone call the police.
Tabitha is taken aback, shaking her head in disbelief as the security guards rush forward. The once quiet neighborhood is now filled with murmurs. "You know me, we were best friends. How could you do this?" Tabitha said in disbelief, as sirens wail in the distance. Moments later, police officers arrive, stepping out with their hands resting on their holsters. "What's going on here?" one of the female officers said.
I supported her. I gave her everything. I just came to talk.
"Ma'am, do you have any proof that you lived here or owned anything she took?" the female police officer asked. Tabitha stammers, realizing she has nothing concrete. "Ma'am, step away from the property." The friend smirks victoriously as the officers place handcuffs on her wrists. Tabitha shouting as they take her away. "This isn't right. Please listen to me. She's lying." "How did it come to this? How did I end up here?" she asks herself as she sits on the hard bench with her head buried in her hands. The sounds of cell doors clanking echo through the air. Thinking to herself, how did this happen? What did I do wrong, she asked herself again while she replays the moment over and over in her head, rage and despair mixing inside her. "You don't look like the type to be in here," one of the cellmate asked her. "What happened?" "I trusted the wrong person," she said. Days pass, and she loses hope. Her job is at risk, her dignity shattered. Then one afternoon, an officer calls her name. Tabitha looks up, confused. As she steps into the station's front office, she sees two of her colleagues from work. "We heard what happened. We pulled some strings to get you out. You should have told us. You didn't have to go through this alone." Tabitha's eyes well with tears as the officer removes the cuffs. She is free, but she knows her battle is far from over.
You weren't wrong to be kind, Tabitha. Your mistake was in lacking wisdom. There's a thin line between goodness and foolishness. You crossed it, and you paid for it. But now, life is giving you another chance.
Tabitha looks up, eyes wide with realization. Yvonne takes her to a quiet cemetery, standing before the grave of a man who once owned the restaurant where they met.
He used to own the restaurant we met in. His wife falsely accused him of a crime. He died in prison. Unlike you, he never got a second chance. And speaking of second chances, I just bought that restaurant. I need someone I can trust to manage it. That person is you.
Tears of joy replace those of sorrow. Tabitha's face brightens, the weight of the past lifting off her shoulder, Tabitha shouting, "Yes! Yes! Thank you!" The two women embrace each other. In life, kindness is a virtue, but wisdom is a necessity. Learn when to say yes, when to say no, and when to walk away, because sometimes the cost of being too good is too high. Stay safe and cheers.